Hey, how are you? I hope this video finds you well. You know, I had to make a video this morning. Something's happened, right? Something's happened, man. It's pretty amazing, man. Had this amazing group there. And now, of course, it's amazing to me because I was able to speak of this message that I've been tasked to bring to the world. And I got a very great reaction at one particular moment. It was a thing of beauty to remove the lie from a perspective in the other person. That moment where consciousness engine of powerful cognition leaps onto this new data and does this crash reassessment of reality, man. This is a wonderful thing, man. And the message does that for people. And so I'm very pleased about that, it's... See, I've done this path. I've been on this path since I was born, man. I'm not kidding, I've been on this all this way, man. And here we are. That I'm now achieving my destiny to tell you about what's going on. And so, the group was amazing, man. That I could speak the language of the universe, which is mathematics, right? And anyway, what happened is this, right? Last night, it was about 1:30 a.m. and I get this consciousness email. And usually it's like, see the nature of the consciousness email, or I'm calling it the C-mail, okay, the C-mail, is usually it's a singular person that's sending the C-mail, and that takes the form of, you just know it's from a singular person. And people have experienced this, they see their friends in trouble, or someone's thinking of them, or something like that, which is, if I can segue, this is how children are raised. If they have a lot of people that are directing love to them, they are raised to be a certain person. But if they don't have that, okay, if they don't feel that generous, all those C-mails coming to them at a constant rate, because people are actually really, they're loved, if they feel loved. So then they're raised to be this person, and so that's an important matter to consider. But last night's email was quite stupendous because it's the first time that this has happened, right? After just hundreds and thousands of these C-mails, right? Which is a C-mail is consciousness email, which is this new language that's now been enabled. The C-mail, absolutely the signature of a group of people, man. And I've just got to speculate. I think that someone has conceded that this message is the truth and disseminated it to a group of people. And it's a significant individual that must have done this. And they have this is a trusted individual to a group of people, and I'm not sure that it's a small group either. I think it could be a large group, going by the tone of the C-mail. And this is 1:30 last night in the morning, right? And it actually, the email didn't last any longer than it was from the singular person. It had that same, it's the same length. That wasn't affected. And that's all I can say about it. I think that the message is being, embraced, and this was always the way it was going to go, because the consciousness realm, is doing the bulk of this. I'm the catalyst, because all of you have consciousness, all of you, and at the moment, unknowingly, the vast majority of the world at this point believes that anxiety is virtuous. And so, this is the thing. This is the other language, the new language, is what is you get the truth, what they call a fact. Okay? But normally it's in it's a fact according to the lie that underwrites philosophy of civilization, right? The fact according to the lie. Okay? But now we have this alternative, which is being outside the jurisdiction of anxiety, right? And there you have what I call true fact, which is a fact that is according to the truth, not according to the lie, right? And so last night I had that experience, and this morning was different as well. Consciousness was revving out in my brain, as it normally is when I wake up, right? Because I sit there for a moment, right? A wee while, just a bit, and just really feel how I feel. And it's largely a case of where my consciousness is at, right? And so that's, I had these thoughts going through my mind, and it actually largely represented optimum outcomes. Okay, optimum outcomes, according to consciousness, right? And so yeah, last night was quite profound. To have this email come over, that was most definitely, obviously, from a group, which is a collective knowing, and that it's been projected to me is that I've had something to do with this event taking place. And this is the C-mail, right? This is the nature of consciousness. This is the fact of consciousness, our experience with consciousness. And I know while the lie is being believed as the truth, that actually all just gets dismissed and brushed under the carpet. But actually it's the most truthful thing you've got. And so this is just an aspect of the experience with consciousness. And some of the lies is that we can be separated from consciousness, and we are separated. We are separated from consciousness by anxiety. Okay? And religion goes quite along with that quite happily, right? And so yeah, this is this email this morning, this video this morning. And so yeah, I would hope I had a very strong impression, right? That I would get a quite healthy donation to go at this full time and publicly speak about it and go international with it and be international with it. And so yeah, because as it's been seen, there only needs to be one experience of the true fact for people to know all of these questions that can't be articulated, plus all of the answers. And so that's a remarkable thing. And what happened in the group there, a certain chap there, I said to him that the reality is that it's such a joyous thing to be able to speak about this in that group, the Sun and Moon group. Yay! Karen, I salute you. But I said to him that he's in England, right? And I said to him that religion has been replicating the function of anxiety as it events in the mind over the whole earth. And he looked a bit shocked, and he was like, what? And he definitely took a big moment to think about that, a very big significant moment to think about that. And that was spectacular, man, to have that happen, to actually have that abrupt. I mean, it's a reality check. It is a reality check, and it is a little culture shock on its own, right? But you come out of it the other side like, whoa! It's like you've just had so much baggage removed from your experience, and so this is a great thing, and so that was amazing. And so yesterday and last night, just completely bonkers, man. It was like, this is great stuff. So I rode over to another thing that happened yesterday, and this could have catalysed this mass email thing, the C-mail, the big group C-mail. They're all freaking out about this gun thing over in the US, about this guy that shot the school, 17 people dead. And they're all freaking out, oh, it's mental health, and I says in this, I was in these live feed chat line things, and I also made a big comment on another video, and it's not that it's mental health, it is when anxiety appropriates the gun as vocabulary. And so how anxiety builds up till it's the most important, unbelievable thing in the world, and it heavily promotes self-interest, and it compels one to prevail over other people. Okay, and so with all that tension, and then when the gun is being appropriated as vocabulary for anxiety, this is what happens when one may, under those conditions, choose the strongest language they can choose to express their belief that anxiety is virtuous, and so there you have it. And so I made that comment. I kind of repeatedly reminded this chat room and this news feed, which was Fox News, about that anxiety. The problem is that people believe that anxiety is virtuous, because that's the political optics of religion. Anxiety is virtuous, and this is driving a lot of the decisions. And this is probably definitely why Israel was created in the middle of the Middle East, when the whole Muslim faith knows that there are 110 instances in the Quran referring to the Jewish people, and most of them are warnings. So, I mean, you know what? They should just call Hitler an honorary Muslim, because the evidence is that he did not, there was no superiority complex there. He was not a supremacist. You know, he wanted to, after the Caucasian spirituality had been undermined, and that there was an ongoing mitigation of voice, and there was starving people everywhere, man. I mean, what did you expect to do? And so the lie anxiety, when it, when the political correctness of anxiety is the dominant political entity, right? This is what you get, because this is the lie anxiety tells. Anxiety will tell you any lie it needs to tell you to get you to distrust someone. Okay? Everyone knows that. That's exactly what it does. And so, in this situation, Hitler had to be, and without going into it, mostly everything people know about the Second World War is a lie, because there's hardly anything, without actually going looking hard, there's hardly anything publicly published, broadcast. There's actually nothing publicly broadcast about the 10 years that led up to World War II. Okay? There's virtually nothing about it in the public sphere that they would teach you at the schools. Nothing about the cause of World War II. And as soon as you go looking, there's very obvious signs of how it was caused and what really was going on. And the Jews played a very significant role in Germany's disposition in the 10 years prior to World War II. A huge role. Okay, and what options Germany ended up having, and the time frame they had to react, and all sorts of things. And so this is the thing of it. This is the truth of it. Okay, and so it's not a thing. It's not a thing of the Jewish people. It is a thing of the political correctness of anxiety. Okay, and that was the functioning of the ideology that still exists. All the immigration thing going on. This is because they have a politically correct, according to anxiety, perspective of how to keep these elite people separate from the world, right? And so what they thought they'd do is they dilute the political position of the silent majority, whom they say they represent, by increasing the size of society to minimise the political status of the local people. And so yeah, these emails, man. See, I mentioned the World War II like that because the Syria thing is still going on, and it's very aggravating to me that these lies are being believed as true. Okay, the whole Russia investigation in the US has been going on for way over a year, and they got nothing. They got nothing on the Russia thing, right? And so why have they put such energies into this? They are replicating the function of anxiety as it events in the mind to have control over the mind. And in this instance, is like in all instances, the mind is representative of the silent majority of the whole planet Earth. Because I know those people over the Middle East there, I'm in New Zealand, right, but those people over the Middle East, they're exactly the same. They're exactly the same. They have the same concerns, the same problems, the same families, the same cars. They have a job, they have electricity, they like to have dinner, mum cooks dinner, dad comes home from work and the kids are happy to see him, and they all sit down to dinner with mum and have dinner. You know, everyone in the world is exactly like that. Every single one, man, everywhere. And so this is this call to going out about the will of consciousness. And but I had to tell you about the email thing there that I got, the C-mail. That was powerful, man. That was like, whoa. going from only having experienced the individual. It's like when I rang up Talkback Radio, right? And I said to them the first time, I said how I'd made this observation, about anxiety, right? About if it makes us conceal our anxieties, and we are compelled to allow others to conceal their anxieties, we've been lying through our teeth the whole time humans have ever been speaking. And I got this major high quality C-mail, boom, man. I think it was from Wellington, right? And that was real high quality, that one, because it was a high quality statement. It's a statement of fact, and it's the truth. It's simple math. If everyone's concealing their anxieties and everyone's allowing everyone else to conceal their anxieties, they're all sweet with it, well, then they're telling lies all the bloody time. And so this is this business that if you got told as a child or implied that you got, that we only use 10% of our brain, okay, it's because of the first two laws of anxiety. You are compelled to conceal your anxieties, and you are compelled to allow other people to conceal their anxieties. Okay, that is why it seems like we only use 10% of our brain. And religion capitalises on that because there's hardly any causality spoken about. There's no technical knowledge of the Holy Spirit there. That's this is all according to this lie of the first two laws of anxiety, right? That's the most people need to say, and everyone knows it's the rules. Everyone knows and respects these rules, right? And that's the fact of that. And so I just said on this radio that's a giant lie in itself, right? How this feature of our experience as human beings is actually dominating the way we speak to each other means that huge amounts of what we feel are not able to be expressed, and that's a fact, man. And so we, this is just this giant freak accident, man. Because consciousness finds itself alive in the world. The culture shock event of birth. Culture shocks the values of anxiety into existence, right? And then we instinctively start conceptualizing the process in a way that fits the language we use. Okay? And so that's got to stop. We've got to start taking notice of what the process actually wants to say, and we've got to change language to allow for that. Okay? Because the language we have at the moment has actually been like devolved. It's been what's the reverse of developed, of developing? Regressing. There's been this regression of language, and even though the language there actually thoroughly inhibits articulation, it is now in a case where it's being regressed even more, which is all this political sphere going on. Political correctness, feminism, all that, and these rules about what you want to say, and the gender pronouns. This is all about making language regress, which inhibits the means to articulate. Okay? And so this all fits. The behaviours of the political world that are inflicting itself on the people, and the political entity that is anxiety and its political aspirations in our own minds and in the group setting. It fits exactly this thing, anxiety, the character of anxiety, and the way which society has been quietly nurtured, pushed, just, and they say some stupid ass fucking things it's all about keeping you off balance, right? And they are at completely total war against us, but it is only a war of anxiety versus courage. Okay? And I know for a fact that we could ask the question, is Antifa anti-fascist, or does anxiety believe that courage is the fascist? So, because I know the fact is that the politically correct perspective of anxiety, yes, anxiety does believe that courage is the fascist. Okay, and if you like to measure history with that statement, right? Anxiety believes that courage is the fascist. See, this is what happened. This was Bolshevism in Russia 100 years ago. Okay, it sought to improve society and support the worker, and anxiety wanted to, anxiety had this desire to show everyone that it was virtuous. And when it's saying, oh, the worker must rise up, what it was really saying is that it was the overthrow of objectivity, actually. Because the management of a factory is the objectivity, and everyone gets behind it, right? And so this is what anxiety's goal was in Bolshevism, is to prove that it was virtuous and have everyone live in fear of it. And this all replicates the function of anxiety as events in the mind, right? And so you can test that. That mostly all these situations like that is about the replication of the function of anxiety as it events in the mind. Right? It truly is, man. And so anyway, I thought, I've got to mention that C-mail I got last night. Yesterday was amazing, man. I was on duty, man. I had that great group thing and just felt buzzed out from that, man. Especially with that one particular moment there that happened. Fantastic. It's to bring people to the truth, and then to go on and just Mr. Keyboard Warrior, man, yeah, on duty for consciousness, right? To remind Americans that it's not mental illness, it is when anxiety appropriates the gun as vocabulary. And considering the emotional effect anxiety has on a person, where anxiety will lead a person if given full control, people want to choose the strongest language possible to express themselves when they feel like that. And they have appropriated the AR-15 as the language of choice. So and so I got this big group email last night. So everybody woke up, and it could have been that America woke up and then looked at the because they would have been notified that they'd had this message. I commented on blah blah video, and so it's like that's what happened. That happened last night at 1:30. It's now 11:45, and have a good one, man. This is the good fight. Anyone pro-consciousness is a righteous person. Anyone who's not is not. And there you go. That's for that, man. It's fucking absolutely, yeah. So anyway, it's been good. Another video soon. Like even maybe today. Whoa.